What's going on, guys? Dawkbro back again. Hope you're fantastic today. And finally, we are here with the next Fazbear Frights, What You Need to Know. And we are here with number 10. Number 10, Friendly Face. Look at that friendly face. Does that look friendly to you? No, it doesn't. We are one more book away from the finale, Prankster. There is going to be a Felix the Shark book, but apparently that's not going to reveal anything. The last epilogue story is in Prankster, and that's the finale of the epilogue with Eleanor and Stitch Wraith and stuff, okay? So we're getting very close. However, we've got 3 stories to read, and the first one is Friendly Face. The cat. There's not really much lore involved in this one, but I do think it's a very dark story. Very dark, very sad. And I do feel sorry for the character. He's not a bad kid. He hasn't done anything. He's just a clumsy guy, and as you'll see, but he literally doesn't do anything. It's just a clumsy kid, and something happens, and it's sad. And it just goes to show how cruel the Fazbear Fright universe is. It's very cruel, with agony and everything. You could be the nicest person on the planet in the Fazbear universe. Nobody can survive FNAF if you're involved in it. So the main character is Edward, and this is the main protagonist in the story. He's very clumsy, like I said, so it already starts off with Edward eating cereal with his mom, and he nudges the cereal on accident, and it falls on the floor. So already, Edward's a very clumsy guy, and he keeps doing it. He keeps breaking things on accident, and very prone to accidents. I've put prone to accidents, always has been. So I was like, okay, so if he's always prone to accidents, something's going to happen. An accident is going to happen eventually. Another accident he does is when he's in class. There's a science experiment in class, and basically the teacher asks him to get these magnet fragments in the drawer. Do you know the magnetic sand? He gets it out of the drawer and puts it onto the magnets, but it doesn't work. He actually got some pepper out of the drawer instead. No idea why a freaking vial of pepper was in the science class, but it makes the whole class sneeze, and he makes another mistake. However, there is one person in his class who understands his character, and he understands that he's clumsy, and he's fine with it. And his name is Jack. Now, Jack is Edward's best friend, and like I said, he understands Edward's clumsiness. And Jack is a very smart fellow. He's very technical. He speaks like this, with the equation of me speaking right now with my verbal talking like that. That was terrible. But you get the idea. He speaks very smart. He reads loads of books. He's a very smart kid. Jack is used to Edward being so clumsy. Like, when they're on the bus home, Edward accidentally nudges him and accidentally kicks him, and Jack's just like, this is fine, and jokes around with him. He understands Edward, so that's why they're best friends. Because it says this in the book. Basically, they are best friends, and they've only got each other. They don't have any other friends, so they are basically in their own universe. It says that, they're in their own world together, because everybody else just looks down at them, but they've got each other. When they get out of the bus and start walking home, they walk past an old lady's house, and they hear some rustling in the bushes, and they manage to find a little black kitten. And Jack really wants to keep the cat, because Jack's read loads of books and everything. He's read about cats and kittens and how to train them and how to look after them. He knew straight away that this was a stray kitten. It was messy. It was, rough looking. It looks malnourished. It wasn't eating properly. So Jack decided that he wanted to take care of the cat. He says to Edward, I've been reading these training books. I know how to train a cat. I know how to bond with this cat easily. It might be a stray cat now, but give me a few moments and you'll see. Jack and the kitten have now bonded fully, and they're like best friends. And he decides to name the kitten Faraday. So it's Faraday the cat. So now they've got another partner in crime. It does some time skips in this one, guys. Basically how Faraday's getting on. 3 weeks later, Faraday is now a spoiled cat in Jack's house, okay? Jack's mom lets him keep the cat, and it's going really well. Happy part of the story for once. Faraday is really smart. Faraday is basically like Jack, a very smart cat, knows exactly what he's doing. He's spoiled. And Faraday is now a happy, healthy cat. And it's not just Jack that Faraday bonded with. Edward, every day, went to Jack's house to look after Faraday and train him. So it looks like it's going pretty well. Is this really a FNAF book? Nothing's happened yet. That's what I was thinking. However, something does happen, unfortunately. 3 months later, Faraday is now a professional cat. He's completely trained. You can tell him to do tricks. You can tell him to do loads of things. You can tell him to do loads of tricks. He's a really, really smart cat. And they decide to take the training to the next level. So they decide to make an agility course in the backyard. So Faraday is a house cat, right, so far. He doesn't leave the house. He's always been inside Jack's house. But they decide to do an agility course outside in the garden. So this is the first time Faraday is going back outside. I'm going to read you guys the accident, what happens. And it is sad and it is dark as well. So I am going to say a warning for this one because it does go into detail about what happens. So basically what happens, guys, is that when they're out in the garden, there's a butterfly. Faraday was playing with the leaves in the garden that fell onto the floor. Unfortunately, the butterfly was the same colour as the leaves. When the butterfly was flying away, Faraday followed it. Faraday spotted the butterfly before Edward or Jack did. As soon as he did, he started scampering after it, the same way he chased a leaf. At first, Edward and Jack thought Faraday's antics were amusing. It was like watching a ballet, the sleek black cat leaping gracefully, the weightless butterfly swooping and diving. The way Faraday's paws reached for the butterfly, batting the air, was adorable. But then, their cat romped around the corner into the front yard. Faraday, could you please come here? Jack called as Faraday rounded the side of the house. Faraday didn't come. Jack repeated the suggestion. No, Faraday. Edward and Jack exchanged a look and both took off at the same time. They tore around the corner of the house and they finally found Faraday at the front edge of the yard, happily cavorting with the butterfly. Faraday, come here! Jack screamed, all concerns about commands gone. Faraday acted as if he didn't hear a thing. Edward didn't bother to call Faraday. He just ran across the yard. Faraday wasn't paying attention to him, so Edward planned to scoop up the cat unawares and be done with the whole anxious moment. But Faraday zigged when Edward zagged right into the street. Faraday! Jack and Edward screeched in unison. Because of Edward's dash towards where Faraday had been, Jack was closer to Faraday when he went into the street. Jack wasn't particularly fast, but he moved at the speed of light that afternoon, his typical smile gone, his lips compressed in determination. He tore out into the street after the cat, and he leaped for Faraday, just as a dump truck roared around the corner and accelerated toward cat and boy. Stop! Edward yelled. He wasn't sure who he was yelling at. The truck driver? Faraday? Jack? The only one who seemingly listened to him was the truck's driver. As Edward raced towards the street to rescue his friends, the truck's driver hit its brakes. The tyres squealed, but the truck was going too fast to stop in time. No! Edward wailed as the truck ploughed right into and then over both Jack and Faraday. Frozen, Edward stared at Jack's and Faraday's contorted bodies. He didn't step forward to see if they were alive. Both lay with their necks at an odd angle, their eyes open, but vacant. Edward stumbled back, turned, and he threw up in the gutter. Then his legs gave way, and he crumpled into a halt. He was strangely aware of the lawnmower droning on next door, but he couldn't hear anything else. The driver was out of his cab on his phone. Someone from across the street was running forward, mouth open as if yelling, but all that was blurry and muted. The only thing Edward could see clearly was what was left of Jack and Faraday, and all he could do was sit in the street and stare into the unseeing eyes of his two best friends. So there you go, guys. That was the accident. Unfortunately, Faraday the cat ran into the road trying to catch the butterfly. Jack went after him, and unfortunately, just like every FNAF book, something bad happened. And the truck was speeding down the road. He was actually overspeeding, it says, and he got charged for manslaughter. But the truck driver was speeding across the road, couldn't stop in time, ran over both Jack and Faraday the cat. If you can imagine the trauma that Edward would have faced after that accident, seeing that happen and seeing the aftermath of that. And because of that, like I said, it was a traumatic experience for anybody. Edward just goes completely out of it, alone. He's lost both of his best friends. He's now alone. Weeks later, Edward hasn't showered in weeks and just stays in bed most of the time, grieving loads, trying to figure out how this could have happened. You know, was it the butterfly's fault? Was it the truck driver? Why did that happen on that day? So yeah, it's a time skip. Weeks later, Edward's grieving in bed. His mom comes in and says, you need to have a shower. So finally, he does get the courage to get out of bed and have a shower and get cleaned up. Now, I know this is a bit off, guys, but I kind of relate to Edward, and I know some of you guys probably will as well. When you're in such a low mood like that, obviously, I haven't experienced seeing something like that. You know, when you're in a low mood and depressed and stuff, you don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to have a shower. You don't want to look after yourself. So Edward having the courage to finally go and shower, it's very relatable. And I do feel sorry for him. I know it's fictional, but I do feel bad for him. And even further than that, guys, he's had a shower and he needs to distract his mind, because all his mind is thinking of is the accident. He's thinking of Jack's lifeless body on the floor, staring at him, lifeless. Edward needs to start distracting himself and getting his brain to think about other things. So he decides to go downstairs to watch some TV. And while he's watching TV, an advert comes on. On a black and white checkerboard backdrop, big red words flashed across the screen. Grieving the loss of a beloved pet? Edward froze and stared at the TV. The image of a large, cartoonish brown bear wearing a top hat filled the screen. The bear was talking. Edward quickly unmuted the TV as the words Fazbear Entertainment presents Fazbear Friendly Faces scrolled beneath the bear. Just send in a few strands of hair from your lost pet and let Fazbear Entertainment do the rest. We use your pet's DNA to craft a face that looks exactly like your beloved furry friend. The face is then integrated onto an animatronic body to create a loyal pet that will follow you around forever. The image on the screen shifted to an example of the friendly face, and Edward watched in awe as a robotic orange cat romped around after the red dot of a laser pointer. What a small price to pay to feel joy again, rather than wallow in those sad feelings of loss and longing. The bear looks like he was talking directly to Edward, and Edward could feel the intensity of the bear's cool blue eyes. On the screen, more red writing flashed. For a limited time only, an amazing deal just for you. The bear started talking again. And if you order within the next 30 minutes, you'll get free shipping. A price streaked across the screen. It was a lot, at least for Edward, but he thought he had enough in his savings stash. The bear leaned forward, making his communication feel even more personal, almost intimate. If you don't love your friendly face, the bear said, then my name isn't Freddy Fazbear. The bear leaned back and smiled, flashing a wide mouthful of teeth. It pointed at its chest. And I am Freddy Fazbear, so you're guaranteed to be thrilled with your new faithful friend. The robotic cat reappeared on the screen, and Freddy's voiceover said, "What a better way to memorialize a precious friend than with a new pal. Someone who will remind you of the memories you made with your pet while helping to make new ones together. Why settle for an urn full of ashes or a photo on a wall when you can have a memorial you can play with, one who will keep you company anytime you want?" More red letters erupted onto the screen. "Get your friendly face today. Call now." So there was a TV commercial, guys, of Friendly Face. So what Friendly Face is, guys, is that Fazbear Entertainment, you have to get DNA from your past pet, okay? So Mabel isn't dead, guys, but if Mabel passed away, I'd get a sample of her fur, I'd ship it off to Fazbear Entertainment, and they would make an animatronic based on Mabel, okay? That apparently looks exactly like her, but it's robotic. So what do you think Edward is going to do? Edward calls straight away, and he says a nice lady answered no problems at all, and he ordered one. All he has to do now is get DNA of Faraday. This is a weird one, right? Because this looks like it's a normal thing. Like a normal call lady answered the phone and was like, "Yeah, I'll get this ordered in for you." I don't think there's anything sinister behind this at all, guys. You know, I feel like this is something that Fazbear Entertainment wanted to do for people. However, where is Edward going to get the DNA from? He goes back to the accident. That's the only way he's going to get DNA, unfortunately. So he goes back to the truck accident. He finds a sample of Faraday's hair, gets it, collects it, and then goes back. But while he's there, guys, he's grieving so much, he feels sick. And there's like still like speckles of blood like stained onto the road and stuff. It's very sad. But yeah, Edward does find some DNA of some fur, gets it, and he ships it off to Fazbear Entertainment to make a Faraday animatronic. I also thought this was very similar to Pizza Simulator. So when Susie's dog gets run over by a car, and you hear William Afton at the back saying, the dog's not dead, follow me. I don't think it's the same. I don't think, William Afton made an animatronic dog based on the Susie's dead dog. But I feel like it's like a nice little reference to it, bringing a pet back from the dead, basically. I instantly thought of William Afton in Pizza Simulator. Apparently, the animatronic takes about 8 weeks for the animatronic to be made. So 2 months later, Edward's still waiting. He hasn't got his animatronic yet. So he actually contacts Fazbear Entertainment and asks what's going on. Another lady answers the phone. So this is normal, guys. This is normal. There's nothing sinister going on behind the scenes with this. And she says there was a delay in manufacturing because of a production anomaly. "We're so sorry for your inconvenience, but you should have your friendly face in about 2 weeks. We'll include a discount coupon for another Fazbear Entertainment order as an apology for the delay." So she says a production anomaly. Why would there be a production anomaly? What's going on with Faraday, the animatronic cat? So he goes, okay, it is what it is. Edward waits another 2 weeks. He gets home and there's a package. A package has arrived. And ironically, when the package arrives, a storm starts brewing. So when I wrote this down. So a storm starts brewing. You know what happens in every horror film. It's a bad omen. It means that something bad is going to happen, like a warning. And Edward opens up the package. And what do you think he's going to get, guys? Does this look like a normal cat to you? What was going on with the DNA he sent? Edward lifted the friendly face from the box and held it up before his eyes. Edward screamed and dropped the friendly face. It landed on its legs in the open box, and the styrofoam peanuts held it upright before Edward's appalled gaze. He staggered a couple of steps back from the table. What had he done? The day Edward had shot into the street to pluck hair from the pavement, the only thing he had been thinking about was being done with this disgusting task so he could send off his order for his friendly face. He hadn't been really looking at what he was doing. He had not examined the hair he had gathered to make sure It was cat hair. He had just scraped up the first black hair he had seen and he had taken off. And this is what he got for it. Sitting in front of Edward, perched on top of a mound of styrofoam peanuts like a deformed king, the body of a robotic cat was attached to the stiff, powdered white face of Jack. Not Faraday, Jack. Instead of Faraday's sweet furry face, the face Edward had expected to see when he had opened the box. The human hairs Edward had sent in had resulted in the stark white mould of a dead-looking human face, Jack's face. On the hard material, Jack's brown eyes were motionless, but they appeared to be gazing intelligently at Edward, just waiting for Edward to say something so Jack could reply with his unusual affected display of knowledge. Edward struggled to breathe as he stared at Jack's slightly flat nose, thick lips turned up in a smile, and his broad chin. These were Jack's features, attached to an animatronic cat. It was an abomination. Edward felt sick. When Edward was going to get some DNA from the truck accident, he picked up Jack's DNA instead of Faraday's, or a mix of both, and it's made this thing. So the cover of Friendly Face, guys, is Edward's dead best friend attached to a cat. Fazbear Frights, everybody! The first thing Edward does, guys, is shove the abomination back into the package, and he has to get rid of it. He says he's got to get rid of it, but there's a storm brewing, so we can't really go that far. He's got to get rid of Jack. He's got to get rid of, what should we call it? Farajack? Let's call the cat Farajack, okay? Or Jackaday. Jackaday or Farajack? What do you guys like? So Edward has to get rid of Jackaday, so he plans to bury it. So he goes outside with Jackaday, and he digs up a hole, and he puts Jackaday in. Think about this scene, guys. It's pretty disturbing. When Edward started to bury Jackaday and put dirt onto his face, Jackaday the cat was flinching like this when the dirt was hitting its face, and it hasn't even been activated yet. Didn't even activate it, and it's flinching. So it's pretty weird, man. Like I said, Fazbear Entertainment, normal company, like the phone ladies and stuff, people who were working for the company, but the people who are making these animatronics behind the scenes, it's pretty screwed up, right? The fact that the cat's got a human face and it's flinching and stuff. The first thing I thought of, guys, was Fazgoo. We spoke about Fazgoo before. Fazgoo can make clones and stuff like that. I think it's something to do with that. And the experiments and stuff, the scientists behind the scene of Fazbear Entertainment have basically used Jack's DNA with Fazgoo to make the animatronic cat or something. So yeah, I did write Fazgoo down. So he buries Jackaday, and it really scares him. And all he can see now is Jack's face. Wherever he looks, he feels like Jackaday is following him everywhere. And in the middle of the night, guys, when he's trying to get to sleep, what do you think happened? A noise wakes him up. And the storm has took out all of the power in the house, so it's very dark and creepy and noisy outside. So any noise that's around the house or outside the house, Edward thinks it's Jackaday. He hears scurrying and scraping on the walls and stuff, and all he can imagine now is Jackaday. The noises start to go inside of the house now. Outside of his room, he hears scraping on the doors and running around the hallways like a cat running. He hears the scuttling of a cat running. He does go out and check, see if anything's there, but nothing is there. He can't see anything. So he goes back in, he goes to sleep. Clunk! Something's woke him up. Now, think about this, because it's terrifying. He wakes up and looks at the end of his bed, and he sees Jackaday staring at him at the end of the bed. Can you imagine waking up and seeing that? Just staring at you while you're sleeping. So he screams, he makes a massive noise, you know, his freaking dead cat on his freaking bed. His mom comes in and says, "What's going on? What's going on?" And Jackaday is nowhere to be seen. So, just like other Fazbear Fright stories, was this in his mind all along? Was he hallucinating this? Is this because of his trauma? Something going on with his brain? You know, you got to think, guys. He's gone through a massive accident. He's ordered something to try and make him feel better. And his dead best friend's on a like looking exactly like Jack, like literally a clone face on a cat. You know, it would traumatize you a lot. Is his mind playing tricks on him? Or has Jackaday came out of the hole and started to traumatize him? You know, Edward's a smart kid, and he's pretty certain he did not imagine that. You know, like me and you, if you see something, you know you've seen it. Whether you think you're going crazy or not, you'd know if you've seen something. And unfortunately, after that night, he sees Jack's face everywhere. He sees him at school. He sees him hiding in the bushes like a little cat. He sees Jackaday, not just Jack's face. He sees Jackaday hiding in the bushes at school, just staring at him. Edward decides, while Edward's at school, he says, I'm going to go and check. I'm going to go and check if Jackaday is still buried. And he looks at the mound where he's buried Jackaday, and he says the mound was flattened down. And he said maybe the rain did that, because, you know, when you got a mound, over time, the dirt will go down. It does lower down. What do you guys think about that? If Jackaday did get out of the box and escape, shouldn't there be like a hole already dug up and, you know, not reburied? And unfortunately, we're not going to find out, because when Edward starts to dig up Jackaday, his mom comes out and asks what he's doing. And obviously, Edward doesn't want to tell her about anything, like what's just happened with the cat and stuff. By, you know, him buying a new cat animatronic and this abomination. So he leaves it and just pretends that he's just there in the garden doing stuff. So unfortunately, we never get to find out if Jackaday is buried or not. But the hint is there, guys. It says that the mound is flat. Unless Jackaday, you know, got out of the box and, you know, and patted the dirt back down. You know, I feel like it would be messy if Jackaday escaped. The only other thing I thought of was if somebody else dug out Jackaday and buried it back down, like Eleanor or something like that. Because we know now that Eleanor's been going around causing problems and stuff like that. His visions are getting worse. Jackaday is literally everywhere he looks now. Kind of like Blackbird, if you remember that story. But it's not just vision now, it's hearing. So he starts hearing scuttling in the school and scuttling in the house still of a cat prancing around. He's going to go home and see if Friendly Face is still buried. He's about to go into the school bus to go home, guys. And he sees Jackaday clinging on the back of the bus, staring at him. Edward's like, nope, no thanks, I'm walking home. I am not going on the bus if I literally see Jackaday clinging on the bus, staring at me. I'm going to walk home. When he's walking home, guys, he hears some scuttling noises. And he looks around and it's Faraday. Like, this isn't a hallucination now. He can literally see. This isn't just a quick flash and Jackaday disappears when he looks, you know, he's gone. Jackaday is there in the distance, staring at him from across the road. We get a little bit of detail of Jackaday, which gives evidence that Jackaday did climb out of himself or somebody got him out. Jackaday's fur is now muddy. Jackaday's fur is now mulled up and horrible, scruffy and dirty, like mud all over it. So, you know, that gives evidence that, you know, that is Jackaday, the real one, the friendly face one, and was buried and got up. And he saw all like the mud and stuff from that. Now, this is the interesting thing about Jackaday, is that Jackaday is never, you know, attacking Edward. Jackaday doesn't attack Edward at all or scratch his face or gets angry. Jackaday is just following his owner. Jackaday the cat, all the cat wants to do is play. So when Edward's running away from Jackaday, Jackaday's just following behind, prancing with his tail up, wagging his tail to play. Unfortunately, Edward doesn't see that, and he thinks that Jackaday's after him to get revenge because he buried him, right? So he runs through the forest, he runs around the roads and stuff, and something happens. He tried to run faster, but he was so tired. His steps faltered. Something touched Edward's ankle. He glanced down, the Jack face smiling up at him. Edward screamed, put his head down, and pumped his arms to push his body even faster. Just a few more steps. He sprinted hard, his gaze firmly on the ground in front of him, so he wouldn't trip over something and go down. He couldn't see clearly though. Everything was blurry, probably because his eyes were filled with tears and sweat. It didn't matter. He kept running. He bolted forward, pelting away from the thing behind him, hurtling towards what he hoped was... Edward felt a flash of pain, so intense that it couldn't possibly have been real. The pain was the last thing he felt. That the pain was incomprehensible was the last thing he thought. He never even had a chance to think. Sorry. The semi-truck that hit Edward started skidding right after the impact. The driver, his eyes bulging, his heart racing, his stomach suddenly in a knot, practically stood on the truck's brake pedal. Of course, it was too late. The semi-truck kept going for several yards before jackknifing to a stop. Well behind the truck, Edward's body lay in the road, a pool of blood widening around it. A few feet away, partially hidden in the ferns at the edge of the verge, the friendly face hunkered down. It flicked its robotic tail. Its smiling Jack face kept its gaze focused on Edward's still form. It would wait now. It would wait patiently for Edward to get back up so they could play some more. And that's the end of Friendly Face, guys. So like I just read, Edward was running away from Jackaday. Jackaday just wanted to play. But unfortunately, Edward's running across roads, running through the forests, across busy roads. He couldn't see because he's sweating and crying and panicking. And he runs into the road while a truck is going past and he gets run over. Just the same fate that happened with Jack and Faraday. He gets run over as well. A very, very sad ending. Very creepy as well. Having the scene in your minds of the body, the corpse of Edward being on the road, and Jackaday the cat, animatronic, in the background in the bushes, wagging its tail, smiling, staring at the body because the cat just wants to play. I don't think there's anything sinister behind it. I think the cat animatronic just wanted to find its owner. It could be darker than that, where the animatronic was programmed to be bad like Fetch was. It was corrupted by something, corrupted with agony. But to me, I don't see that. I think the cat animatronic, the Friendly Face brand, they're just programmed to play with the owner. You know, you buy one, you put the DNA into the cat, you get your cat's face on the animatronic with the Fazgoo or whatever they use. I don't freaking know. It is very sci-fi, I know, but, you know, it's fictional, so don't worry. You can't do that in real life, I don't think. Although it has, like, a cat face, or a human face of Jack in this case, it's still an animatronic body, and it's programmed to play. It's programmed to be a pet. In the, you know, in the advertisement, you could see that the cat, the Freddy Fazbear advertisement, the cat that they use, the Friendly Face cat, the ginger one, just playing around. You know, that's what they're programmed to do. So to me, it's a malfunctioned Friendly Face. Edward uses the wrong DNA and it turns out like this. I know it's really creepy and I know it's really scary and it looks freaking traumatizing, but it's still an animatronic. And this animatronic is programmed to play with the owner who bought it, which in this case was Edward. So while Edward was running away, you know, because, you know, it looks like that, because he's terrified of it, the animatronic just doesn't know that. It's just programmed to play. So that's what happened, unfortunately. And that's why the ending's so sinister, because the animatronic's waiting for Edward to get up and play again. But He's dead. There you go, guys. That was Friendly Face. I hope you enjoyed it. A shorter story in this one, and not a lot of lore. But like I said, got vibes of Pizza Simulator, of William Afton experimenting with the dog, or he was just luring Susie or something. Very, very sad. A sad story. And the only thing I can think of is Fazgoo. Like, that's how they use the DNA samples to make the faces and attach them onto the animatronics. That's all I can think of. I can't really think of any video game lore or anything. Just more wackiness with the Fazbear Frights stories, using DNA to make some creepy experiments. I don't know if that would be legal in the real world, being able to do this with DNA and stuff of people's pets. This is definitely not legal, using human DNA to do it. And you know, even the fact that the experiment people saw this and they were like, yeah, just ship it, it's fine. Just ship it. Let's not make a new one, or tell him that it looks like his best friend's body, his best friend's corpse. Let's just send it him, it's fine. He'll really like it. I actually liked this story. It was a good one, and I really liked the ending. Not in that way, in more like a horror film vibe way. It was good, but very, very sad. And Edward and Jack and Faraday did not deserve this fate at all. It's one of those stories, guys, in the Fazbear Fright universe that just shows that these stories, and these stories with the people in them, it's very, very cruel. You know, like I said before, you can be the nicest person on the planet, but you're going to get hit by a truck. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Next episode, it will be... sea bunnies. Thank you so much, guys. Take care, lots of love, and I'll see you all next episode. Sea bunnies?